Hello everybody, and welcome to episode 5 of this Adventure Materials Let's Play of Ironsworn, playing through a randomly generated Dungeons & Dragons style dungeon using the Ruins of the Undercity dungeon generator. So, in this game we are playing Pember the Knight and Cormac the Cryptic, a wizard, and the two of them are actually finding quite a few quests down here in the Undercity, the sprawling catacombs created beneath the city of Spires, built over generations, and they're currently down here on the second floor of the dungeon. Their first floor adventure was cut short by these two grates, and so they found a staircase down, and so they've had to do a little bit more risky adventuring than they perhaps would have liked, but it's actually been quite profitable. In the last session, they actually found a pair of conch shells, or a bag full of conch shells worth 200 gold pieces. So I'm going to write that down. Conch shells worth 200 GP. But at the same time, they had to charge through room 9, which is a room with an altar and all of this noxious smoke burning in these braziers. And so they ran through a secret door, and they found themselves in kind of a mortuary area, something like that, where they're preparing bodies, and a pair of zombies have raised up to fight them. And so that's where we are now. If you check our challenges, we've actually found enough treasure with those conch shells to be able to fulfill that vow. So as long as we can get out of here, then we're gonna consider it pretty good. So all we need to do, kill these two zombies. There's 500 gold pieces hidden in this room, so we're gonna get our hands on those, or not hidden in this room, protected in this room. Because this is a mummification chamber, I think instead of just gold pieces, it would be more fun if these are like gold urns or implements, tools that are clearly worth money, some kind of ceremonial tool used to make these zombies. So with that said, let us get ready to fight. So we have to prepare a fight here. So we've got a pair of zombies. And I already know this is going to be formidable because we fought two zombies before and we haven't leveled up since then. So it seems like it would be cheap to make it easier on us, which is going to be difficult. I guess actually I might reduce this treasure because we still have to grab that treasure before we can get actually beat them. Maybe that's something that I want to have one of my characters do if this seems like it's going to be too tough. One of the, it's better to live to fight another day. So hold on, before we do, I'm going to just see if I can lower the darkness on these rooms for a second. Yeah, there we go. Okay, so I kind of cleared up these door images. Should make it a little bit easier to see them when we're scanning the map really quickly. But okay, so let's fight this pair of zombies in this mummification chamber. So I think first I'm going to ask, are there like tables in this room that they work on? And I think that's likely, so I'm going to say it's 80%. 85, no tables. Okay, so instead they must work on slabs on the edge of the room. So as the two of them enter through this smoking ceremonial chamber, they start to cough. Their breath clears as the air clears on the other side of the chamber, but a pair of bodies begin to rise, and they really don't want to have to run back through the smoke again. So let's see here. Let's begin by, I guess, rolling Enter the Fray. Okay, so how do we want to enter the fray? Let's see here. We'll pull up our moves list, and I think so in this one, you can't choose to enter with iron in Ironsworn. The combat becomes much more flexible in Starforged, which if I play this again, I might use Starforged combat rules instead. But I think, let's say ambushed. Even though I don't think we're actually being ambushed, I think we have a chance of seeing them as we come through this corridor. So I'm going to switch over to Cormac, who has better wits, and see if he notices them as they begin to rise. So let's see. Strong hit with a match. Excellent. So he gets +2 momentum, and our party is going to have initiative as he notices the zombies, shouts them out to Pembroke, and he's going to start off with a spell. So he comes in. Oh, actually, let's see what our event is. But I roll double ones. Sometimes I like to do an advantage, but I also like to use it as an opportunity to roll a random event. So I'm going to roll up a random event here on a mythic table. That's from the Mythic GM emulator. So 62 is PC negative. That's not good. I'm going to roll again. I don't like PC negative on a positive event, but let's see what it says. 48 block, 71 a representative. Well, block a representative. Does that make sense during combat? I'll table that for now. We'll think about that later. Sometime, I'm trying to do these videos live. This is the way, Mythic wants you to play it according to the rules. You think about it, you roll. If you can't think of anything, you can either skip it or just go what's obvious. I think the most obvious one here would be that the door slams shut and separates us, but I don't want to have such a negative event when I get a positive hit. This is a plus thing, so something lightly negative or that changes things like that might be okay, but that's more of a serious negative thing when we're losing. So I'm going to skip that one, and we'll just begin the fight. So I think we're going to start by, let me see, I could do invoke. My invoke's not great right now, but let's check our knight. She's down to 2 momentum, so she needs momentum. So I think what we're going to have is Cormac secure an advantage. So let's secure an advantage using lore. So these are zombies. Let's see if she knows or he knows anything about these particular types of zombies. So we get to add +1 as we're using our wits to secure advantage, and this is to aid our ally. Weak hit. Okay. So that is not good. And a weak hit, when you secure an advantage, if you're in combat and you score a strong hit, you and they have initiative. So I don't think I cost her initiative, Pembra, but Cormac definitely loses initiative here. But he does get to pass 1 momentum over to Pembra, which is good. She needs to earn it. So he doesn't know much. He's zombies, and he points out that the 2 of them are rising. But he notices a weakness on one of them, maybe a danger on one of them. Instead of, standard zombie hands, one of them might have a hook in place of its hand, or in place of both of its hands. It's clearly been made for some purpose. Okay, which that sounds pretty creepy, suitably creepy, I think. And so they come on. She's got initiative right now, so I don't want to use my shield to face danger yet. Instead, and aiding your ally, I'd like to, but I think right now we need to take advantage of our iron to try to get a hit. So let's roll a strike while we've got initiative here. So for that, it's just a straight iron roll. So let's see here. Strong hit with a match. Excellent. So we inflict +1 harm and retain initiative. Good. Okay, so when you use a deadly weapon, you inflict 2 harm. And because I'm formidable, this is a formidable foe, each harm is only 1 damage. So I get to inflict a 3rd harm, and we keep initiative. But now it is back to Cormac, who does not have initiative. So he has to decide what he's going to do. He could clash. I've got a lot of initiative. This might be a good way to burn some initiative. Yeah, let's take our time to clash with Edge, and maybe we can get some of these advantages here. So we're going to roll iron. Or I'm sorry, roll edge. The zombies are moving forward, but Pembra puts herself between Cormac and the first zombie, and she plunges her sword into its chest and lops off one of the arms, but the other hook comes up. All right, we get a weak hit on our clash. We inflict our harm, but we pay the price. Okay, so let's switch back to the zombies, and we inflict 2 harm here. I'm actually going to inflict a 3rd harm. No, I'm going to keep it 2 harm. Going to go back to Cormac. I'm going to burn my initiative here. So I'm going to turn that into a strong hit. But instead of taking that 3rd harm, I'm going to gain back 1 momentum. Let's start building momentum again for another fight later on. And we'll use this so we now both have initiative. Okay, so Pembra is good here because she got that heavy strike. I wonder if now is the time to aid my ally. Let's see. I can't face danger with it. Well, okay, so let's just fight. We'll do edge again, or iron again. She tries to take out another one. Let's see, they both have initiative thanks to burning momentum, so that's not an issue. Ooh, a miss, that's bad. Okay, so when you strike on a miss, your attack fails and you must pay the price. So I think because this is a 3 attack enemy, I'm going to just take damage. she thinks she's taking the one out, but its hook gets up under her shield with that one roll. That was terrible. And it slices her deep. So let's see if she can endure harm to withstand this. When she faces physical damage, suffer minus health equal to the foe's rank, so that's 3 health. And then we get to roll plus health, or plus iron, whichever is higher. Iron is higher because we're currently cranked up on this healing potion that we were given, or a strength potion, which lasts until we lose one of these bars. So, or we lose enough initiative. So it's actually pretty good. I don't see any game rule that prevents me from creating a bunch of them, but it feels cheap to be able to take too many potions. I might allow myself to make another one when we go back next time so that each character is under the influence of one potion, but we're not there yet. So let's see. So geared for war, because of her heavy plate armor, she gets to add +2 when she rolls this. All right, let's roll endure harm. Strong hit, nice. So I can either take 1 momentum, or I can trade 1 momentum for 1 health. We're going to be heading back to town soon, so I think I'm going to take that 2 momentum. So I'll take the 1 from having the armor, and the 1 from embracing the pain. And because I have a strong hit on a suffer move, I reclaim initiative. So that hook comes in and it sinks tight, sinks through her armor, but the armor deflects the worst of it. But she's able to pull, and the plate armor catches the zombie's arm and yanks it off of its feet, so it loses traction too. And so now she's in a good position against it. And now, let's see here. What are we going to do? So he has initiative because we just burned our momentum. So with initiative, how are we going to act? We can't do Lorekeeper again. That doesn't really make sense. I could try to secure an advantage. That way I wouldn't take as bad of a downside. Let's secure an advantage using wits. So we're not going to try to fight here. Let's just try to build up some momentum and try to make a little progress here. So we're going to cast a utility spell. Try to slow one of the zombies down. Weak hit. Okay. So I get to take +1 momentum, but that's it. And then I lose initiative because it was not a strong hit. That was a bad roll. Okay, so we're back to Pembra, who just took that damage, but because of her strong roll, she now has initiative. How much damage have the zombies taken? One of them is almost dead. So is now the time to go iron, or is now the time to aid my ally? Let's try to aid my ally. So I'll take +1 here for my aid my ally move, and we're going to secure an advantage with heart. So I can tell what he's trying to do, what Cormac's trying to do. He's trying to cast some spell to slow one of the zombies down. So I'm going to roll heart +1, so I get +4 here to try to get a strong hit to secure an advantage with courage. Weak hit, darn it. Okay. So when you aid your ally, add +1 and take +1 momentum on a hit. So I did get +1 because I got a hit, but I lost initiative because of it. That is a bad roll. But I do get to pass 1 initiative on to Cormac. So it's not enough to distract him, to distract the zombies, but it is enough to buy him a little bit more time. But he's now kind of at their mercy. If I take damage, he's going to be hurt. So let's see. What do I want to do? I could turn the tide, risk it all. But then it suffers a dire outcome. I don't think we're ready for that yet. We still have a lot of magic spirit that we can use here. And then maybe we have to use some of our money to maybe spend a little bit more time healing. So let's see. Let's roll secure an advantage. There's no reason to use my wits here or my magic here, because I think I could still use wits. Oh, actually, I can't secure an advantage, but I can face danger because I don't have initiative. So let's see. With expertise, insight, or observation. That seems, since we're in trouble, that doesn't seem right. Let's try. I guess we're just going to have to clash. Let's clash with edge. We don't really have that much more to go, or that many other options. So we're shooting at them. They're still far away. Let's try it. Strong hit. Ooh, lucky. Nice. Okay, so we regain initiative. And I think I'm going to deal that extra harm to deal it 3 harm. Actually, I won't deal it 3 harm. I'm going to take the 2, or the 1 momentum, and I'm going to deal 2 harm. The reason I don't want to do the extra harm is... Oh, that's the wrong one. I deal 2 already. If I dealt 3, then if Pembra gets a strong hit, she'll put it over 10. And you can only end a fight on a strong hit, so there's no reason to push for it there. So now it's Pembra's turn, and I believe she does not have initiative, unfortunately. But we can try to... Let's try to deal a little damage. Let's face danger with shield. So we'll do that. Take 1 add, and we're going to try to block the... or I could clash in close quarters. Maybe that's how I do it. Okay, I'm going to clash instead of face danger. So we're rolling. We actually don't get that add, but we have a straight 3 addition here to clash with our shield. Strong hit. Excellent. So we get +1 momentum. Got it. And then I'm going to do the find an opening to inflict +1 harm. So we got a strong hit on there, and we got this up to 10, so we can roll for progress. So the first zombie falls, and then she gets her shield up and catches the other one right in the face, knocks it backward, and she plunges her sword toward it. Strong hit. And nothing special happens. She's able to skewer that last zombie, and its head flicks across the room, and it falls. And then the 2 of them stand panting for a moment, looking around the room, trying to make sure they're okay, make sure nothing's coming in at them from any of the other doors, but everything seems fine. And let me see, do they have... Do I think there's enough stuff here to try, like, to take the time to heal? I don't think it would be a good idea to heal here, but it might be nice to have a heal roll. But no, this is... I was thinking because it's kind of medical, it might be, you know, they're doing surgery and stuff here, but I don't think they'd want to use any of this stuff. So instead, let's just... they'll take those coins that they found, which I think it said was 500 gold pieces. Let me make sure. Yes, it was 250 gold pieces per level, so we each get to add 250 gold coins. So let's see, that's 575, 625 gold pieces each. Nice. That is quite the haul here. 625. And again, in Ironsworn, it doesn't really matter how much currency you have. There's no actual tracking of money. But it's enough to bump us up to finish our first quest. You know, this is a good enough haul that they think if they get out, they might be able to make something of a name for themselves as adventurers who know their way around the dungeon. And we also were able to find all of these frescoes and things are good information. Those are things I think that wizard that we found, whose name is escaping me, Hobarton the Young, who's looking... He's a sage's apprentice, so he's looking for information on the dungeons. I think this would definitely interest him. So they write this down, and that's what bumped them up to 6, I believe. All right, and with that, I think we're going to retreat out of the dungeon. There's not a lot. All of our resources are kind of picked low. We don't have any more quests. We'd really like to turn this in, maybe spend some time healing, spend some of this money, maybe even hire a couple of retainers to come in with us next time. With the way Ironsworn works, those will not be actual PC retainers, but they might help in fights. So a fight against 2 zombies, if we can find a pair of retainers to fight with us, that might only be a dangerous foe instead. So it will definitely make things easier going forward. So for now, I think we're going to try to leave the dungeon. And so we will roll a leave the dungeon move to see if we run into any random encounters. Let's see. Escape the depths. So fastest way, keep out of sight, retrace our steps. I think we'll just retrace our steps. Nothing to worry about here. You know, we know exactly where we're going. We did not pass very many foes. There's basically no entrances other than the one we came. So I think we'll be safe. Strong hit. Excellent. So we get +1 momentum, and we make our way safely out of the site. All right. So the party emerges into the light of the city of Spires, um, and they return to the inn. And I'm not sure what time it is, so let's roll a D100 to see if it's morning or afternoon or night. So 30, we're going to say 33, 33, 33 for morning, afternoon, or night. 47, so it's afternoon. So it's late afternoon now. I think they've been in there pretty much all morning, but it wasn't a particularly long delve. You know, they fought a couple of fights, they found some treasure, but basically this is not the kind of place that anyone plans to sleep in if they can help it. So they return to the inn, and now I think it's time to turn in these these quests, the finished quest anyway. So let's roll and see whether the treasure we have was enough to make our reputation. So we've got the conch shells worth 200 gold pieces, and then we've got the tapestries. We've got 400 gold pieces worth of tapestries. So let's see if we can move all of that stuff. Weak hit. Oh, bummer. So let's see what happens when we fulfill our vow. We only get a weak hit. That is a bad luck roll. On a weak hit, there's more to be done, or you realize the truth. Envision what you discover, then mark experience. So we get one less experience than we were hoping for. Or we can swear an iron vow to set things right. Ooh. That could be kind of cool. Should we take the full experience and get a new quest? Let's do that. Okay, so what did we get here? We got conch shells worth 200. I think we could sell those, no problem. 725 and... Oops. Hold on, we'll go to the wizard, bump him up to 725. So this must be about the tapestries. And so I'm thinking we can't get the money that we were hoping for the tapestries. Nobody here wants to buy them. And so why don't they want to buy them? What's different about them that we would need a quest? Let's see, let's go up to our oracle. Locate knowledge. Okay, so the people who are looking at them recognize a sign that's like sewn into the tapestries, and they kind of make a sign of warding, you know, against evil, against it, and they say they certainly don't want to buy it. But it makes it seem like possibly that somebody would. I mean, surely if this is some kind of cabal symbol or cult symbol, there's somebody somewhere who'd be interested in getting this. So I'm going to have Pembra here swear an iron vow to find a buyer for these curtains or these tapestries. This doesn't really seem like it's the kind of thing that in a real Ironsworn game you would swear an iron vow for, but because we're playing a Dungeons and Dragons game using Ironsworn, this is basically just a quest. This is the way we're going to get experience. Strong hit with a match on swear an iron vow. So she gets +2 momentum, and we know exactly where to go next. So I think we know at least 2 sorcerers who are spending time in the dungeon, one of whom is looking for a servant who's taken something from him, and one of whom is looking for history about the ancient country. So we've got Hobarton and Hadapal, Hadapal was a woman, like she seemed like a thief or an assassin or a spy, and she works for an unnamed master sorcerer, whereas Hobarton is a young wizard working for the Sages Guild. But either way, we've got a couple of wizards that we think might be interested. So let's swear a new vow here. Let's find a buyer for our tapestries. This is just going to be a troublesome one. This is not very, very dangerous. A side quest, basically. And then we can delete this, and we both get experience. So we're up to 2 experience there. And did I already give? I already gave him experience. So now, with that experience and our time to sojourn, I think we might actually do some leveling up. Let's see. First, we'll begin our sojourn move, which represents just kind of the day or 2 that we spend resting at the inn, stuff like that. So we'll roll sojourn, and do I want to share a bond? I think actually I will. I'm going to have a bond with the tavern people. So let's roll here to see what kind of what's the name of this tavern. I'm going to roll a couple of times on the oracle tables. Okay, I rolled here on the delve. I like unusual shelter. So, I mean, that's not a good name for an inn, but it's unstable craft. So let's call it the, what's a good craft? Maybe blacksmithing. So we'll call it um, the cracked anvil. Yeah, that sounds okay. The worn hammer. Cracked anvil? Cracked anvil. I like that. Okay, so I'm going to have her form a bond with the folks of the cracked anvil. So here we go. Oh, hold on, gotta go up to the top here. One of the few things I don't like about this iron journal is that this can totally block your journals here. So here we go. We have the folks of the cracked anvil inn. So we have our first bond, and I'm not going to make her roll to swear a bond because we have 3 that you're able to get by default. So this is one we're going to get. We've been here for quite a while. The people in this and environs. So we're becoming something of local celebrities here. You know, we've been several delves into the dungeon. I think 3 or 4 even, which we've survived. We've brought treasure out. We're quickly making a name for ourselves as adventurers of note. And so I'm going to form a bond with that group. All right. So now when we roll for sojourn, we should get to add +1. Yep. When you spend time in a community seeking assistance, roll +heart and add 1. So we get to add 1. Here you go. Let's roll. Strong hit. Excellent. You and your allies may each choose from 2 of the categories below. On a hit, we may also choose to focus on one of our chosen recover actions and roll heart again. And we get to take +2. So I'm definitely going to do that for mine on the recuperate. So Pembra, you know, she comes in, she splashes money around. The owners of the inn, whose names I haven't decided on yet, are happy for us, and they put us up in the best room temporarily. So let's roll to see if we get a bonus there. We do. Good. Okay. So we're back up to 5 health. Excellent. And then what does she want to do for the other one? She can't take more momentum because she's at max. There's supplies at max and consort. Oh, I guess she could raise spirit. Let me just make sure. Yeah, okay, I'll have both of them take both to full. I like this idea of providing aid, taking on a quest, but I think we just got one and we still have 2 other challenges. I don't want to have too many quests going on at the same time. So basically they spend a night in, I mean, Pembra is not the kind of paladin who would spend a night in drunken debauchery, but they definitely celebrate pretty hard this week. They splash their gold around. Let's say they spend 25 gold pieces, which is probably quite a bit. But yeah, 25 gold pieces each. They're buying the best of the food, the best of the ale. And basically they're living it up because things have gone well for them. Let's see here. So now I think we're going to see what happens to us as we level up. We'll see which skills we trained. So I'm going to pause here for a second to see. With 2 experience points, I could either keep saving to try to get to 3, which would allow either character to buy a new card, a new asset card, or with 2, I can upgrade an existing card to give it more powers. So as you see, with alchemy, I could create a second potion, or I could do this when I prepare it, which makes her better, or makes him better at creating potions. Along the same lines, I can make Invoke more powerful or Lorekeeper more effective. So I'm going to pause here while I review my options, and then I'll unpause to show what they learned in the dungeon. Okay, so we have spent our experience points here. Cormac has decided to level up Lorekeeper. So he's carrying his spellbook. And one time only he may browse the archive's forbidden depths. If you do, raise your wits by 1 and roll an action die. On a 1 through 3, you must also mark corrupted or face desolation. I can't face desolation, so I'm risking corruption here to learn some kind of ancient spell. So maybe that spell scroll that he found, the scroll case, it wasn't empty after all. Instead, it had some dark ritual in it that held a secret to great power, but it could corrupt his mind as well. And so we have to just gamble here, and we're going to see. So I'm going to roll here But this is basically just to roll the d6 is all that matters. So I need a 4, 5, or 6, or else I am permanently corrupted. 5. Ooh, lucky. Okay. So he looked into the dark secrets, and he was able to gain power from them, but not lose his humanity, which is good for Pembra. You don't want to be walking around with a dark wizard all the time. Okay. Lucky. And Pembra, for her sake, she learned a lot about fighting with armor, and now when she clashes in close quarters while geared for war, which she is in her plate armor, she gets to add +1. So, because of her shield and this, when she clashes using iron, she gets to actually roll +4, and she gets +1 momentum every time she gets a strong hit. So I'm happy about that. I think that was a good level up for both of these characters, especially that +1 wits for Cormac. He's going to be he's learned a lot about the dungeon, even though we don't quite know what dark secrets he's learned. It's certainly something important. Okay, and with that, I think it's time to, let's see. Well, what challenges do I have here? I've got. Oh yeah, I'm still looking for the Kobold for Ha DePaul's master, and History of the Ruins for Hobarton, and I need to find a buyer for our tapestries. So let's see. I think I might want to just go to Hobarton first and bring these to him and see whether they're the kind of things he's looking for. So I think for that we need to try to gather information to try to figure out where the Sages Guild is. And so that's wits. So Cormac is definitely the one to go asking, especially with his new knowledge. First, let's actually roll wits to do invoke. So he's going to take his time to memorize spells before we head back out into town. Weak hit, shoot. Okay. So he's up to maximum magic, but it cost him 2 spirit to do it. So he had to use a lot of his magic, or maybe he memorized fewer but more powerful spells, or his mind is strained by what he memorized. He's been reading the lore from his lore book, and now he's doing the magic, and it's having a toll on him, so he's short-tempered. But he's got a full contingent of magic. So now let's try to gather information. He does not get to have the bond. He doesn't get the +1 bonus because he does not have a bond with the people of the area. Strong hit with a match. Nice. Take +2 momentum. Okay, and so let's envision what we learn. Distract Fellowship. Okay, so we learn that the Sages Guild is not like the kind of place that has a tower. The Sages Guild is kind of a loose confederation of sorcerers and historians who meet occasionally in conclaves, but they don't spend a lot of time together. So if I'm looking for a particular one, it's just going to take a lot of footwork. So we ask around, and we also have a match. So this is a 5/5. It's kind of a high general thing. So I think this is a fair time to roll a mythic event. So I'm going to roll on my mythic event table here. 84. NPC negative. Okay, and so I've got 3 NPCs. I've got the people of the area, who are going to be number 1 and 2. And then I've got Ha DePaul, or her master, which is 3 and 4, and Hobarton and the Sages Guild, which are 5 and 6. So let's roll this just to see. 3. That's wrong. Yeah, okay. So that's Ha DePaul and her master. So something negative happened to them. Let's find out what it is. 51. Overindulge. 64. A burden. Okay, so their quest that they sent us was to find the scarred kobold and recover a treasure. So overindulge a burden. I'm not sure what that means. Because we haven't dealt with them yet, I'm just going to mark that down, and that's something we're going to try to come back to later. NPC negative. Okay, so I'll keep track of that for later, and if that thread comes up again, we'll remember it. But in the meanwhile, we rolled a strong hit, and so let's see if did we find Hobarton? Let's say 75% yes. 76. No, okay. So we find our way to a shop where Hobarton supposedly lives or works. But the place is cluttered or shuttered right now. It's clear he's not there. He's either out doing sage business or he's down in the ruins again, so we can't find him. So we're not going to make any progress there, but at least we found the location where he works, and we can come back and check on him another time. So I think with that, our characters should be ready to send themselves back down into the dungeon and try to do a little more exploring. But we are pushing up on 35 minutes for the session, so I think I'm going to pause us here, and we will begin our next session with a new delve into the dungeon. We're going to, maybe we'll do a little bit more wrapping up here. I'm going to try to see if we can get some hirelings to take with us. That's actually a good idea. So let's actually try compel. And then I think after that we'll prepare ourselves for the delve, and we'll start it off first thing with our next episode. So we are going to roll plus heart, and I think we get to add that +1 because of our bond. So let's see if we can find anyone who wants to come adventuring with us. Strong hit, we do. Okay, nice. And we didn't have to threaten. So how many people can we get? We'll roll a d6. We'll actually roll a d3. So we'll divide 1, 2, 2, 3, or 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, 6. 2. So we only find one person. Okay. So we find one adventurer who's at the Cracked Anvil, who sees us. He hears that we're going back down again, and he comes up and he asks us if he can come with. So let's see. Should we roll his name on here? I'm going to roll his name on here once just to see. Themon. No, I want more of a Dungeons and Dragons name, so I'll do another roll on there. But he's quirky, charming. Okay, so I'm thinking like a bard style character. He's maybe a thief. Yeah, a thief. Charismatic thief who's indifferent. Okay, so he's kind of aloof, but in a charming way. Let's see if we can get a cool goal here. Refute a falsehood. Okay, he's here in town because he was wrongly accused of stealing from someone powerful in his hometown. And he says it didn't happen. But, things like that happen. But if you guys are going down to the dungeon again, I'd certainly go with you. I've got the skills for it. So let's roll up his name real quick and see. All right, perfect. I got Zorbird the Fair. So let's write that down on there, our NPC list. I don't have one. Let's create a new list. NPCs. All right, we've got Zorbird the Fair, a thief who was wrongly accused of stealing in another town, and he's now joining us in the dungeon. All right, so we've got our first person, and I think because we've got this NPC, that's going to give us something of a bonus when we're facing danger for traps or sneaking into ambushes, those kind of things. So fights that maybe would have been bad, formidable, they might be dangerous, stuff like that. So NPCs, like I said, they don't really have a direct mechanical effect. Like, they're not a character in the same way they would be if we were playing Dungeons and Dragons or Labyrinth Lord. But he should certainly help, especially if we can, keep him paid. I'm imagining if he's bumming around town looking for someone to go into a dungeon with, that he is desperate for money, just like we were. Okay, so I think that wraps up this episode. I hope you guys are enjoying this series so far. I certainly am. It's maybe going a little slower than I was expecting, but we got a lot of slow fights here at the beginning, and now our dungeon is kind of coming along, and I'm really liking the progress that we're making, and I'm looking forward to spending some more time down here. Please take a minute to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Thumbs up the content if you're liking it, and hit the bell to be notified when the next episode comes out. And I will see you all next week.